All right, good morning, traders. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody out there in Cyberland, Podcast Land, Digital Land. Thank you for subscribing and following my content. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you, Bob Jordan. Thank you, Kathy, Sarah Roasted. Thank you, everybody out there in Digital Land and Podcast Land that follows my content. Again, I try to provide actionable, profitable content every single day. All right, let's dig into the monologue here and let's get started. Before I get started, I want to just remind everybody today's open house for Right Way Options Doug Campbell. It starts at 9:25 and runs till 4. Here's the QR code. I will leave the link in my description of the video. Scan the QR code with your smartphone, and that will bring up a registration link, and they will email you credentials to get into the room today, all right, at Right Way Options. All right, so today is July 14th, 2025. Good morning, traders, everybody. Thank you for being here. My SPY pivot this morning, 623.05 above, and I'm a bull, below, and I'm a bear. All of the Fab Five still in daily uptrends. SPY, QQQ, IWM, and Diamond Dow all made. That's supposed to be lower lows and lower highs, closing inside their bearish traps over their 17 EMAs. FNGU made a lower high and a lower low, closed under a bullish trap over its 17 EMA. SPY closed with a 2-hour uptrend, a 2-hour downtrend and a 10-minute downtrend. Gold is in a new uptrend. Gold made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. Silver makes a new 12-year high. USO in a daily uptrend. USO makes a higher high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. UNG in a daily downtrend. Okay, and made a higher high and a higher low yesterday, Friday, closing inside a bearish trap under the 17 again. U.S. dollar index still in a downtrend. We like that. Closed near 97.89 area. SPY max pain for today, 623, with a put to call ratio of about 1.3 puts to each call that expires today. For setup, CRDO and FLR are the only ones that I see set up. Let's take a look at FLR. All right, you can see FLR kind of consolidating here, looking for a breakout over the bodies right up there, right over 5281. All right, would be a nice breakout for FLR in that grinder box up there. CRDO. Starting a new grinder box right here, so looking for a breakout over the red candle there, over 98.38. Looking good this morning. Should make it over 98.38 for a green erases red entry right there on CRDO. Okay, let's take a look at SPY. All right, SPY on the daily chart. Okay, I know it said higher high and a higher low. It's lower high and a lower low, closing inside the bullish trap over the 17 EMA. Same with QQQ, IWM, and Diamond Dow. I got to fix that. All right, on the 10-minute chart, you can see on the 10-minute chart, had a 10-minute downtrend coming into the close on Friday. On the 2-hour chart, really it's just a lot of consolidation. On the 2-hour chart, all right, had a 2-hour downtrend. You can see kind of the yellow crossing underneath the 8. 2-hour downtrend coming into the close on Friday, right there on SPY 2-hour chart. So on the 10-minute chart, I'm going to be looking for a continuation of this 10-minute downtrend, a continuation, which we kind of already have. And if we by chance break the bottom of this base right here, 620, let's just call it 620, all right? If we break the bottom of that base at 620, there's a good chance that we're coming all the way down to 613 and look for the consolidation pattern to begin again. So look for price to pull back to 613 and then probably go back all the way up to 623.50. All right, so there's SPY on the 10 minute. Get below 620, probably coming down to 613, okay, because that would be the consolidation support up here. We'll see what happens this morning. All right, but look for continuation of that 10-minute downtrend that was started on Friday, right there, okay? A little pullback today. On the game plan says, let's move this over just a little bit, okay? You can see the pivot, 623.05. Again, we have green erases, red erases green underneath 621.50, almost there. Okay, 621.50. I would expect it to probably either bounce there, or if it gets through, then we're coming down to 620, below 620. Like I said, 613. All right, 10-minute green erases red up here. That was red erases green. Okay, entry 621.50. The green erases red entry over 624.65. I like 4 days till expiration Friday options. 11 days till expiration Friday options, both of them on the multiple of 5, so 620, 625, 615, 610, okay, on the multiple of 5. I like them $5 to $15 out of the money. They're cheaper, and I don't get as much performance, all right, but I'm fine with that. It kind of slows it down a little bit, so giving them more time and more out of the money makes them slow down quite a bit. All right, so if you want the highest performance, it's going to be that 0 DTE in the money put, call or put. That's going to give you the highest performance, almost a penny for penny performance with the SPY. So there's SPY on the 10 minute. Okay, so take a look at, there's the game plan. Okay, I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. All right, so if we happen to get a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP and it originates down here, okay, or down here, okay, just because it's not green erases red doesn't mean I won't trade it. If it happens to break over the pivot, I will probably trade it. If it happens to break the rubber band candle on the bullish side, I will probably trade it. Again, I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. All right, so if we have a 10-minute downtrend, which happens to originate up here above the pivot, but actually trades down to the red erases green area, okay, again, long before it hits the red erases green entry, all right, I'm not going to stand down and not trade that 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. I will decide that it will probably need to either break through the pivot or break the rubber band candle, either one, okay? So, again, 10-minute uptrends. 10-minute uptrend might originate here. Again, if it breaks the rubber band candle or the pivot, I would probably trade it to the upside. A 10-minute downtrends, if it happens to originate up here or even up here, I won't be afraid of trading it to the downside, all right? Again, if it breaks the rubber band candle or the pivot, either one works for me, all right? So there's the SPY game plan. Let's take a look at QQQ game plan. Okay, let's slide this over. QQQ pivot, 553.70. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Green erases red. Entry over 555.65. Red erases green. Entry underneath 552. Again, same as SPY. I like 4 days till expiration Friday options on the multiple of 5. So 555, 560. 550, 545, okay? I like them $5 to $15 out of the money, okay? Same as SPY. I like 10 minute uptrends over VWAP. Again, if I happen to find a 10-minute uptrend that manifests down here long before the red or green erases red entry, okay? If it breaks the rubber band candle or the pivot, all right, it will be a probably a trade on situation. All right, again, 10-minute uptrend that happens to originate long before the green erases red entry, like down here or crossing the pivot, Either one, okay, break the rubber band candle. Maybe it starts down here, okay, or just right inside here between the pivot and the red erases green entry, okay. If that 10-minute uptrend originates either down here and I break the rubber band candle or across the pivot, all right, I'm going to probably find it to be a trade on situation. All right, same with the 10-minute downtrends, okay? If a 10-minute downtrend happens to manifest either up here long before it gets to the red erases green entry, okay? It happens to manifest up here, or even over here, okay? If it breaks the rubber band candle or the pivot, it would probably be a trade on situation, all right? So there's QQQ. That's the game plan for today. Again, I would expect game plan if they break this area here at 552, look for them to pull back to these lows, 545 or something, like maybe 540. Probably a $10 range, maybe even down to this anchored VWAP right here, and then start moving back and forth. Okay, so there's QQQ game plan. Let's take a look at QQQ on the daily chart. And check it out right here. QQQ, okay, again it says it is a lower high and a lower low, all right, closing inside a bullish trap over the 17, still up in quadrant 4, both SPY and QQQ up in quadrant 4, they're bullish, they're up at the top, and they're still in uptrends, okay? They're still in uptrends on the weekly charts, they're still in uptrends on the monthly charts, they're still in uptrends on the 3-day, the 2-day, and the daily. All right, they are still in uptrends over that prior all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, so there's QQQ. Let's take a look at FNGU. Okay, FNGU on the daily chart put in a lower high and a lower low, just like the others. But the only thing different, they closed underneath a bearish cross over the rising 17. EMA still up there in quadrant 4. That's still bullish. FNGU. Okay, still in an uptrend, still bullish up there in quadrant 4. Diamond Dow, lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap over the 17, up in quadrant 4. That's still bullish, still in an uptrend. IWM. IWM on Thursday put in a new rally high. There's the high beginning at April. New rally high on Thursday. Okay, for Friday's price action, lower high, lower low, just like the others, closing inside the bullish trap over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's a pink line. Okay, they're in the upper third, so they're still bullish. Okay, they're still in an uptrend, making higher lows and higher highs. We're still bullish on IWM. We're still bullish on the Fab 5. They are all still in uptrends. Okay, so there's IWM. Let's take a look at our technicals. T2122 right here. Okay, you can see we popped out of the overbought zone on Friday, wound up at the midpoint, meandering back and forth across from the seller's chop zone to the buyer's chop zone. Okay, I don't know what happens today. I think we get more, from the looks of it, it looks like we get more selling. We may find ourselves down in the sell zone and beginning the consolidation pattern on SPY. We'll see. There's T2122. Let's take a look at T2123. There's a 15-minute chart. Again, you've got a bullish trap that still has not been filled. Look at price. Hold the higher ground up here. That's bullish. Friday's price action, you can see a little bit of selling at the beginning of the day, and the buyers came in at the end of the day there. Still up over the rising 200 SMA. It's still up and over to the right. That's still bullish. Okay, anytime price goes up and over to the right, goes up and gives it up, that's neutral. Okay, but you're up and over to the right, that's bullish. That's like holding a plank for 6 hours. Okay, it's not easy to do. That is T2123 on the 15-minute chart. Hey, good morning, Bobby. Good morning, Rod. All right, let's take a look at the 3-bar chart. It's the same product. All right, again, you've got price. A lot of bullish gaps aren't getting filled by the bears here. One here, one there. another one here, another one here, big one down here, up over the flat 200 SMA. Actually, it's now starting to hook. All right, price action. We now have a 3-bar uptrend. Here's a low. There's a higher low. There's a high. There's a higher high. So T2123 still bullish. All right, still new rally high here made on the 10th right there. The 10th was a new rally high for T2123. Doesn't matter if it's the 15 or the 3-bar, that was a new rally high on the 10th. All right, let's take a look at FNGU. You can see they took the day off yesterday. Friday. You can see with selling, all right, from the beginning of the day to the end of the day right here underneath the 200 SMA. Okay, like to see. You still got price action moving up and moving over to the right. So it's holding the higher ground. That's bullish. Still up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. FNGU still bullish and in an uptrend. On the 15-minute, they're in a downtrend. But on the daily chart, they are in an uptrend. They're in a downtrend because they made a low. And then here's a lower low on FNGU 15 minutes. So 15-minute downtrend. Wait for this 15-minute downtrend to end here, and then I think SPY will start to turn around if we can get FNGU 15-minute downtrend to end here. All right, let's go take a look at a few sectors. And let's start off with this one. Let's start off with XLE. Okay, here's XLE. Yesterday's candle, higher low, higher high. Just want to see if they made a new higher high. Yesterday's candle closing over the bullish trap over the 17. The high there was 89.44. The high there was 89.43. 89.43. Okay, so they have made a higher low, and a higher high. Okay, closing over this all-time high anchored VWAP. That's this pink line here. Okay, so XLE in an uptrend, about to get bullish and break into that upper third area. We'll see if they can finally get up there and hold the higher ground. They have a habit of moving up and giving it up. Right now, they're up over downtrend line 1 and over downtrend line 2, and they are above their uptrend line. Okay, so price action looking good for XLE. They're up over their all-time high anchored VWAP, and they're in an uptrend. Notice making higher lows and higher highs. So new rally high for XLE made yesterday. It's kind of strange. Everybody else took the day off. XLE decides to put in a new rally high. That's interesting. All right, so there's XLE. Let's take a look at USO. Okay, USO's Friday's candle is higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. Still in an uptrend, still bullish. Okay, let's take a look at UNG. UNG in a downtrend. You can see they're showing you a head and shoulders pattern. Right now, you've got the head up here. Okay, you've got the right shoulder right here and the left shoulder right here. Okay, and you can see they're in quadrant 1. That's bearish. You can see they're making lower highs and lower lows. See the high? There's a lower high. See the lows? There's a lower low. So they're in a downtrend. Quadrant 1. Underneath the 18-month high anchored VWAP, that's the pink line there. Okay, that's bearish on UNG. All right, let's take a look at GLD. Okay, gold and silver having a good, a good Friday, that's for sure. Higher low, higher high, closing over bullish trap, bullish cross over the 17, and now in an uptrend. Okay, see that? They made a higher high, so gold's in an uptrend right here. So gold starts a new uptrend on Friday, closing over a bullish cross over the 17 EMA and over the prior the all-time high anchored VWAP, which is the pink line right there. Okay, again, you can see price action move up and over to the right. That's bullish. We're up here in quadrant 4. That's bullish. You're in an uptrend. That's also bullish. As long as you're moving up, all right, on that uptrend. There's GLD. Silver, new 12-year high. Okay, just dropped the mic. Enough said. There's nothing else I can say about silver. SMH, all right. SMH up there attacking the all-time highs yesterday on Friday. See what the high is. SMH high there is 288.19. The high on Friday, 288.94. So new all-time high. All right, for SMH on Friday. Okay, drop the mic. Nothing else to be said. Okay, let's take a look at XLK. XLK, lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap. Up there, quadrant 4, that's still bullish. All right, still in an uptrend. XLK, XLF. Financials reporting this week, by the way. XLF, lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bearish cross over the 17. Still up there in quadrant 4, still in an uptrend. XLF. IYT. IYT inside day closing up in quadrant 4. That's bullish over the all-time high anchored VWAP and in an uptrend, making higher lows and higher highs. That's bullish in an uptrend. So you got transports bullish in an uptrend. Financials bullish in an uptrend. Semiconductors making new all-time highs. Okay? Technology bullish and in an uptrend. Okay? All of the Fab 5 bullish and in an uptrend. FNGU, big cap, mega cap stocks, bullish and in an uptrend. Okay? You got IWM, mid cap, small cap stocks, bullish and in an uptrend. Okay? Everything is working here. Everything is working right now. And you got the dollar in a downtrend. Okay? Listen, it's bullish until it's not. All right? And right now, it's still bullish. Okay? We may get a pullback. We may begin to consolidate over the prior all-time high, which would be 613.50. All right? So you may see a consolidation pattern develop between 613.50 on SPY and 623.50. All right? Again, we're bullish until we're not. Just because we're consolidating, moving over to the right, doesn't mean that we're bearish. All right? So just saying, all right, be prepared for that consolidation over toward the right. All right? All right? Again, it's bullish until it's not. There's IYT. All right, what do we want to look at? Economic package. All right, let's start off with the dollar, okay? Let's drag the dollar over here. Let's scoot it in. Okay, you've got this dollar's at a 3-year low right now. Dollar's at a 3-year low. This would be, see all this consolidation? Well, the lows of this, that would be major, didn't want it that thick. Okay, that's major support right there. Okay, you can see price came down and broke through major support. We're in a downtrend. We're making lower highs. Okay, and we're making lower lows. Okay, so we're in a downtrend. We broke major support. We tested it. Not major support, but minor resistance. And we failed to climb on top and consolidate above it. So we're still in a downtrend, moving down. Okay, for a consumer, a weak dollar sucks because your dollar doesn't go as far when you go shopping. All right, but for the investor guy, okay, weak dollar's awesome, and I'll tell you why. Because it opens up new markets. All right, it makes our goods and services more affordable to foreign countries, which opens up new markets. And we tend to have higher revenue brought into the USA through GDP when we have a weak dollar. So for the investor, US weak dollar is great. Okay, look for expansion in the multiples when you got that weak dollar. in the security multiples right there. Okay, so there's the US dollar index. Take a look at SPY Max Pain. For the 14th is 623 with 1.3, 1 1/3 puts for each call that expires today. Remember, index options expire at 4:15. Okay, that was SPY Max Pain. Economic calendar. Not much going on today. Guess what? Tomorrow, CPI 8:30. All right, that's probably going to be the main event right there. CPI tomorrow, 8:30. Wednesday, PPI final demand 8:30. Industrial production 9:15. Petroleum report at 10:30. Thursday is going to be a busy day. Jobless claims, retail sales at 8:30. Philly Fed manufacturing index and import-export prices 8:30. Business inventories at 10. Housing market index at 10. Natural gas report 10:30. Friday, housing starts and permits 8:30. Consumer sentiment at 10 and a rig count at 1. Okay, CPI is the main event this week. All right, and let's go look at earnings because we got some earnings coming up. Okay, on Monday, what do we got here? We got some familiar names. That's today. Okay, but nothing that's going to move the markets. But Tuesday, we got J.P. Morgan Chase. Okay, almost $1 trillion. Well, 800 billion. They're going to report tomorrow morning. All right, Wells Fargo, $268 billion. They're going to report tomorrow. BlackRock, Citigroup, all right, Bank of New York Mellon. Again, all tomorrow morning. Big bank earnings, investment banking earnings coming in tomorrow morning. All right, so and they are market movers, by the way. Investment banking earnings, like when you get J.P. Morgan Chase or Goldman Sachs, going to report, they can move the markets. Okay, I expect them to be good. All right, these are the same companies that help facilitate the market making new highs. All right, if you want the market to make a new high, where do you put the thing? Into a investment brokerage that helps facilitate those new highs. Okay, if the market's making new highs, you can bet there's a good chance investment banking's probably going to be making new highs. I do expect these earnings to be awesome, all right, on investment bankings, especially. Wednesday, 377 billion, Johnson & Johnson, Bank of America, 350 billion, ASML Holdings, 315 billion, Morgan Stanley, 228 billion, Goldman Sachs, 216 billion, Progressive Corporation, I think that's insurance, 143 billion, and Prologis, 101 billion, PNC Financial, 77 billion. Again, more banking coming out tomorrow, Wednesday. All right, again, more market movers. Thursday, Taiwan Semiconductors, if they get their P&L done in time. All right, obviously they haven't set aside a time. All right, that's $1 trillion. Taiwan Semiconductor, $1 trillion. Okay, that's capable of moving the markets. Netflix, $500 billion. All right, 500 billion. In the evening, Thursday, they're going to report they're capable of moving the markets. GE, 272 billion. Novartis, 239 billion. Abbott Labs, 229 billion. PepsiCo, 165, 185. My glasses aren't that good. Marsh McLennan, 104 billion. Interactive Brokers, about 100 billion right there. Friday, American Express, more banking, 227 billion. HDFC, 194 billion. Schwab, 169 billion. 3M, 84 billion. Okay, a lot of big financials getting reported this week. All right, all capable of moving the market higher and getting pumped up higher. Okay, so maybe we're not going down today. Okay, I got a really good feeling we're probably going up. We'll see what happens. Maybe we get a pullback and then we gap up tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But big earnings coming in today. All right, that's it for me. All right. Hope to get my video off in time so everybody can watch it. I'll see you all in 45 minutes and we'll open up the markets. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for hanging out.